I slept less than 5 hours for a week. What happened to my metabolism? I spent a week in a self-inflicted metabolic nightmare, and honestly, the results were way more shocking than I ever expected. We've all been there, right? You get a terrible night's sleep, and the next day you feel groggy, you're irritable, and you find yourself staring at a donut like it's the love of your life. But what's really going on inside our bodies at that moment? What's the biological price for that extra episode, that late-night deadline, or that party that just wouldn't quit? Well, I decided to find out. For 7 straight days, I traded my pillow for science, surviving on less than 5 hours of sleep a night. And what I discovered about my metabolism, my insulin sensitivity, and how my body handles sugar will make you rethink every all-nighter you've ever pulled. This wasn't just about feeling a little tired. This was about watching my body's core system start to unravel in real time. Okay, so before diving headfirst into this sleepless disaster, I needed a starting point, a baseline, a before picture of what my metabolism looks like when it's actually happy. I'm normally a solid 7 to 8 hour a night guy. My energy is steady, my diet is pretty clean, and I generally feel, well, normal. To get some hard data, I tracked 2 key things. First, my fasting blood glucose. Basically, my blood sugar level first thing in the morning. Second, and this is the important one, I measured how my body reacted to a super simple meal, a plain bowl of oatmeal. This test would show me how efficiently my well-rested body could handle carbs and get sugar out of my bloodstream. My baseline numbers were textbook healthy. My fasting glucose was nice and low. After the oatmeal, my blood sugar went up a little, and then came right back down, smooth and easy. My body was a well-oiled machine that knew exactly what to do. This data was everything. Without it, the chaos to come would just be a feeling. With it, it would be cold, hard proof. That first alarm, going off at a truly ridiculous hour, felt like a personal attack. My body was not a happy camper. Day 1 was pretty much what you'd expect, a total fog. I was cranky, my head felt like it was stuffed with cotton, and I spent most of the day just staring at my computer screen, trying to form a single thought. But the biggest, most immediate change was the hunger. And this wasn't normal hunger. This was a primal, desperate craving for anything fast and sugary. My body was screaming for a quick energy hit, and my brain's ability to say maybe not was already offline. This is a classic symptom. Sleep deprivation cranks up ghrelin, the I'm hungry hormone, and shuts down leptin, the hormone that says, dude, you're full. I was basically being biologically tricked into wanting to eat everything in sight. By day 2, things were getting worse. The brain fog was thicker, but something else was creeping in. I just felt slow. Not just in my head, but physically. To get what was starting to happen, we need to talk about insulin. Think of insulin as a key. You eat carbs, your blood sugar goes up, and your pancreas sends out these insulin keys. The keys unlock the doors to your cells, letting the sugar move out of your blood and into the cells to be used for energy. It's a beautiful system when it's working. Day 3 was the wall. The exhaustion finally caught up to me and hit me like a ton of bricks. I felt weak, my emotions were all over the place, and I was so tired that no amount of coffee could even make a dent. This was the day for my first big test since the experiment started. I sat down with the exact same bowl of oatmeal from my baseline test. Same size, same time, everything. The only variable was 3 nights of awful sleep. Watching my glucose monitor this time was genuinely alarming. My blood sugar didn't just rise, it shot up. The peak was way higher than my baseline, but the scariest part was how long it stayed up there. My body was struggling, fighting to deal with the same amount of sugar it handled like a champ just a few days earlier. This is called impaired glucose tolerance, and it's a huge red flag for a metabolism that's going haywire. So why was this happening? This is the craziest part. My cells were becoming resistant to insulin. The insulin keys were still floating around. In fact, my pancreas was probably pumping out even more of them in a panic, but the locks on my cells were getting rusty. They were ignoring the signal. Studies have shown that just 1 week of sleeping 5 hours a night can slash your insulin sensitivity by 20 to 40%. I wasn't just tired, I was actively pushing my body toward insulin resistance, which is a major step on the road to type 2 diabetes. Wild, right? If you know that insane sugar craving or energy crash after a bad night's sleep, drop a comment below. I'm starting to think this isn't just in our heads. And hey, while you're down there, if you're finding this experiment interesting, hit that subscribe button. It helps me do more crazy deep dives like this one. By the last leg of this week, I just felt toxic. That's the only word for it. My face was puffy, my digestion felt off, and my joints ached. This was way bigger than just blood sugar now. A much deeper, system-wide failure was underway. My body was basically at war with itself, and that war is called oxidative stress. Think of your mitochondria as tiny power plants inside your cells. When you don't get enough sleep, these power plants get sloppy. They start producing more pollution than power. This pollution is a bunch of nasty molecules called reactive oxygen species, or ROS. They're like little pinballs bouncing around inside you, damaging your cells, your proteins, and even your DNA. Sleep is basically your body's janitor service, cleaning up all this metabolic trash every night. By skipping cleanup duty for a week, I was letting all this toxic gunk build up everywhere. All that cellular stress also triggers inflammation. My body was acting like it was fighting off an infection. On top of that, research shows this much sleep deprivation messes with hundreds of our genes, including the ones that control our metabolism and immune system. My body's entire operating system was glitching out. I felt puffy, bloated, and just sick. It was the physical proof of all the chaos happening inside me. That first morning after a full, glorious night of sleep was incredible. It wasn't an instant magical cure, but the sense of relief was huge. Before anything else, I did my final fasting blood glucose test. And surprise, surprise, it was way higher than my baseline a week ago. My body was still in recovery mode. But the most powerful moment was putting my glucose response graphs next to each other. The before was a gentle rolling hill. The after was a jagged, terrifying mountain. The evidence was right there, clear as day. In just 1 week, I had pushed my perfectly healthy metabolism into a state that looked a lot like pre-diabetes. My insulin sensitivity was in the toilet, my glucose tolerance was shot, and my system was swimming in stress and inflammation. The damage wasn't just a feeling, it was real, and it was measurable. So, why on earth did I do this to myself? I did this so you don't have to. We live in this hustle culture that wears sleep deprivation like a badge of honor. We brag about pulling all-nighters like it's a sign of commitment. But this experiment showed me the hidden and frankly, shocking cost of that mindset. Sleep isn't a luxury, and it's not optional. It's a non-negotiable biological necessity. The damage I did in just 1 week was pretty intense, but the good news is that for healthy people, this stuff is reversible. It does, however, paint a scary picture of what happens when this becomes your lifestyle week after week. It's a direct flight to metabolic syndrome, obesity, and type 2 diabetes. As the world's top sleep scientists have been screaming from the rooftops for years, sleep is your superpower. It recalibrates your hormones, fights inflammation, cleans out all that metabolic junk, and resets your insulin sensitivity. It is the single most powerful thing you can do for your metabolic health, and it is 100% free. This little trip into metabolic hell was a huge wake-up call for me. So my question for you is, after seeing this, will it be for you too?